Now, how does this non-interventionist philosophy play out when it's a humanitarian crisis like genocide in Darfur, Sudan?
Same way.
Don't get involved.
You don't get involved, but you can make a moral statement. I have great sympathies and compassion, but it should be done voluntarily. I have no right, no moral right or constitutional right to come with a gun and tax the people and say, I will take money because I want to do good. And quite possibly it's a lot better feeding people in Darfur. But there's some warring factions going on there. It's a civil war. We're getting involved. You could have argued that in Somalia as well. But this is civil war over there. I would say you have to do it voluntarily. If we had a free market economy and sound money, this country would be very, very wealthy. We wouldn't be depending on borrowed money. And there'd be more Bill Gateses and Howard Buffetts, and these are the kind of people that would be responsible or would respond. And the American people are generous. There's no reason why we can't help feed the world, and we do. But it's no justification to use violence against our people to extract money to do good overseas.
Let's go to Lewiston, Maine, where Paul is on the phone. Hi, Paul. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Hi, Laura. The highest compliment I can pay the congressman is to tell him that he makes me proud to be a brother physician. Two questions. First, does he think there's an alternative to impeaching Bush to end this war? And secondly, doesn't he agree that a root cause, if not the major root cause of the war and many of our problems is the criminally unjust and unfair tax codes?
All right, Paul, thanks for the call. Go ahead, Congressman.
Well, I think there is an alternative to impeachment. We have the responsibility is as much on the Congress as on the president, so you'd have to impeach the whole Congress.
Well, I was going to ask you, what is Congress's responsibility in terms of declaring war?
Oh, absolute. So Congress was derelict in their duties. But the real indictment is against the philosophy of interventionism, which we've lived with for over 100 years. As a matter of fact, it was Woodrow Wilson, who was the original neoconservative, who was idealistically saying, we have to spread, spread democracy. And it really doesn't work when you try to do it with force. And the gentleman brought up the subject of the IRS. Yes, the income tax as well as the monetary system is the only way that you can finance these wars, because the people you can't tax the people enough. Taxes would have to be doubled. Can you imagine what
sales taxes and things like that?
I mean, you'd have to double taxes to pay all our bills right now. So it's better for the politician to keep borrowing and let the next generation worry about it. So the IRS is a ruthless tool for intimidating the people, whether it's the runaway welfare entitlement system or whether it's the runaway system of interventionism overseas. It's financed through ruthless taxation as well as printing money out of thin air, which is very, very dangerous. And there's consequences from that, and it eventually wipes out the middle class. And that's why the middle class are suffering. Even though the economy is supposed to be doing well, the middle class is complaining a lot, and because the inflation rate is so much higher, they can't afford medical care. But this is a consequence of economic and monetary policy and tax policy.
Aren't Americans among the lowest taxed people in the industrialized world?
I can't believe that. We are paying about half to our government right now.
Less than the Europeans and so forth.
Well, some of them are pretty high, and some of them are even worse shape than we are. But no, if you add up every single thing we pay without even counting the inflation tax, we work half the time for the government. And eventually that ends. The reason we seem to be doing pretty well is we have a good credit rating. That is, foreigners will loan us a lot of money, and they trust our dollar. But that trust can't last forever, and that's my concern, that eventually, as a matter of fact, it's already started. The Chinese aren't buying as many dollars anymore. They're not holding on to the dollars. Kuwait just this past week has decided they want euros instead of dollars. One of the arguments for going into Iraq and Iran has been that they won't use dollars, that they started using euros. And that's been one of the arguments that we had to teach them a lesson, because the dollar is supposed to be the king currency of the world. But it's going to come to end, and when Kuwait does it, who is a very, very close ally, they're getting very nervous about holding dollars. This is a very, very serious thing.
Well, and this gets into some of your economic philosophies and your libertarian approach, especially to economic matters. We'll talk about that after a break. Also get a little personal biography of Congressman Ron Paul. Ron Paul is with us today, a Texas congressman and Republican presidential candidate. And Congressman Paul, let's go back to our callers and go to Manchester next. Maury is on the phone. Hi, Maury. Go ahead.
Hi, Laura. Hi, Ron.
Hello.
Hi. I just want to a naturalized U.S. citizen, and very proud of it. It's one of the wonderful things that happened to me in my life. And I grew up in Africa, and I know how foreign countries, especially the developed nation, support to one regime dictatorship can have population have resentment against those policies, not against American people. American people, they inspire a lot of people around the world, but liked. People don't hate American people around the world and hate the policies. So that's what I want to commend Ron on what he's doing, and just to let him know that he's a very good inspiration across both parties spectrum.
Okay.
I voted independent, but I think I'm finding my man.
There you go, Congressman Paul.
No, I think it's a very important point, because we've heard this, that a lot of foreign people like Americans, they don't like our policy. I think this is true even in Iran, that there's a lot of people over there that like Americans. But when we antagonize and provoke and put on sanctions and surround them and threaten them, what it does, it unifies them in a natural way, because we tend to unify when outsiders come in and attack. So those who are the dissenters and who would like to get overthrow the mullahs are brought, they lose their effectiveness. So I think our policies are so detrimental, and it undermines that goodwill that so many people have. And this is the beauty of non-interventionism, which is, the founders' position. They said that it would work, and it worked in Vietnam after we left. Now we trade and talk and invest in Vietnam. There's a tremendous amount of evidence to show that this is common sense. It's part of the Constitution. It was the advice of the founders, and it's been part of the Republican tradition. And then they turn around and they suggest to me, well, maybe you're not Republican enough. Well, I don't think so.
I want to turn a corner with you, Congressman Paul, for just a moment. New Hampshire Republican voters are just getting to know you and the other candidates, and I want to get a little personal biography from you for a couple of minutes. First off, you were born to dairy farmers outside Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. What are your memories of growing up on a dairy farm, and how do you think that shaped your politics?
Well, we had the dairy business. We had a small farm. We didn't actually have the cows, but I was more involved in delivering milk early in the morning, and that's the way I and my four brothers worked our way through college. We were
delivering milk.
Delivering milk. We were retail milkmen. This day, I don't know if there's anybody that delivers milk anymore. That used to be a service that we could afford and provide for people. But no, it was interesting. It was outside of Pittsburgh. It was a small town, and it was very nice.
Do you think it shaped your current politics, sort of growing up and working on that family business and so forth?
I think the work ethic was instilled in us. At very young ages, all of us had jobs to do, and we didn't get allowances. We got paid for doing a little bit of work now and then, and by the time we were 16 and had a driver's license, we were expected to drive a milk truck and do the work in the dairy.